Hi, welcome back to my channel. Yes, I'm your dorky friend Lisa, here to spill my tea, my dirty secret. For anyone who actually pays attention to what's going on behind me on these shelves, a lot of times won't realize that I'm a bit of a weirdo, but that my secret obsession is vampires. Yes, if it's a book with vampire in it, I will read it. So, a little insight. I think the first horror movie that I ever saw was a black and white Bela Lugosi vampire movie when I was probably about 5 or 6. Scared the bejesus out of me, I think. One of the few times I remember sleeping with my dad and stepmom when I was little. But I digress. And then, of course, a few years later on, when I was probably about 10, I want to say my first sex dream was about a vampire. So, we'll go into that, because that could be, you know, you can find that interesting, I don't know. Anyway, so, it's not sexual, but not terribly, you know, as much as a 10-year-old. Anyway, so basically, I wake up in my dream, and I hear a car door, and this is obviously not my house because I grew up on a farm in the middle of effing nowhere, but this is a really nice bougie like castle. Everything's white in my room, and my natural hair color is blonde, so it's like a little bit lighter than my normal hair color, but it's like a light blonde, and like I'm in all white and everything. So I hear the car door, and so I go running to my window, and I see my mom getting ready to get into a car, and I start yelling, "No, no, no," and she just kind of like waves up at me, and I go running from my bedroom door down this huge like spiral like case of stairs, and I get to the bottom, and of course there's this very Bela Lugosi traditional black-haired vampire guy standing there and like kind of gives me this look, and I take off running in the opposite direction, and he chases me all around this white castle, and finally I get into my bedroom, and I'm like trying to shut the door, and he beats me to it, and of course, you know, traps me, things start happening, next thing I know, biting me all over, and white dress turns red, and it's, you know, that kind of thing. So maybe that's where my vampire obsession first started. But anyway, so again, if it's a vampire book, I'll read it. So I just pulled a few of the ones, I wouldn't say my favorites, but a few that are entertaining and funny, I thought. We're going to start off with Mary Janice Davison. This is about a girl who's kind of silly ditzy blonde. She accidentally gets turned into a vampire. She ends up becoming the queen of the vampires. Long, huge, like, debacle. Her half-sister ends up being the spawn of Satan. And I don't mean that like as in she's like the, you know, just evil. No, I mean literally the spawn of Satan, but she's actually very sweet, and she does charity work, and you know, there's lots of fun stuff in these books. And then I have to say, this is Dead End Dating, which is not actually the first book. It's Kimberly Ray, and it's about a vampire dating service. Yeah, vampires need love too. These are all really super cute, I thought. There's several of them in the series too. And then this is Charlene Harris. She wrote the Sookie Stackhouse series, which is what the True Blood TV show was based off of. And basically, the whole series of books, the show based off the books is completely different. Honestly, the first season is sort of the first book, and then after that everything kind of went awry. It kind of changed characters around, left out people. One of my favorite characters, actually, from the books that they left out completely is Bubba. And Bubba is Elvis, but he doesn't know that he's Elvis, and he doesn't like it if you call him Elvis. And basically what it was is vampire mortician found Elvis, well, got Elvis's body brought to him or whatever, and realized that there was still a spark of life left in him, so he decided to turn him because he was a huge Elvis fan. And, well, things weren't quite right because he was mostly dead, so Elvis kind of like has the mentality of a 5-year-old. But he's very sweet, and he will sing for you occasionally if you're, you know, if you're lucky, and he looks out for Sookie in a few of the books, and I just thought he was hilarious. One of the things I did like about the TV show that wasn't in the books, obviously, spoiler alert, if you have not watched the series, don't listen to this until I hold up the next book, then you can, like, stop fast forwarding. But, Lafayette, who was a big character in the, TV show and one of my favorite characters, I thought he was, you know, highly entertaining and, just rather fun dude who I would definitely hang out with in real life. His character died at the end of the book. In the series, if you remember, there was that voodoo wood woman who you found dead in the car. Well, technically that would have been Lafayette in the books. And there's a lot of other things that are different, like Tara never becomes a vampire. She's actually like a very typical mom, married to a very normal, sweet, simple guy. She ends up pregnant with twins and stuff like that. Eric Northman and Sookie do have a relationship, of course, but Sookie doesn't end up with him, but she doesn't really end up with him in this series either. So I think she ends up with Sam in the end of the books, which is not what happens in the TV show. But again, it's a fun read. I really liked them. Then, of course, you can't talk about vampires without the queen of vampire books, which is Anne Rice. As you can see, my copy of Lestat is a bit tortured. I've had it for quite a while. Yes, she is the queen of vampires. She is New Orleans as far as I'm concerned. I was there a few months ago and totally was trying to go through the flower district and see her house, but nobody else wanted to go with me. It was very sad. But again, Anne Rice, always a good read when it comes to vampires. Then there is, this is J.R. Ward, and she writes the Black Dagger Brotherhood, which is about, in this, vampirism isn't a disease, it's a race, and they have kind of like their own society and rules, and humans, we don't know that they exist or whatever. And the Black Dagger Brotherhood basically are like the soldiers, peacekeepers or whatever. They fight against the Lessers, which are this group of evil, like, beings, basically. And there's all these different fighters who have, like, background romances. She kind of has, like, a formula to her writing, where basically there's always, like, the main story and then the secondary story. And the main story, always they work things out and they get together. And then the secondary story is going to be what's the main story in the next one. And in the Black Dagger Brotherhood, which I always loved about this, they, homosexuality is not, like, really frowned upon or thought of as odd. It's just something that they do because they're so, like, enclosed together, tight-knit people, I guess. But she did kind of mess with me a little bit with that one because there's two boys who were members, and they had, like, this ongoing thing through 3 different books. Then they should have been like the main story in like the second book. But no, she kept just going for like 3 effing books, and I was not happy. Not happy. She even actually, this is the newest one, Blood Fury, which is actually what I'm currently reading. I just started a couple days ago. You can tell I'm about halfway through. Which is, again, there's some gay romance in there because one of the boys from that relationship was dating the other one's cousin because he wouldn't get his shit together, basically. And basically in this, the cousin is kind of sort of hooking up with a dude, and it's kind of cool. I'm happy he's happy now because I was sad because he was a good guy. Anyway, then this, The Vampire Shrink. I only got to read this book, which is Linda Hilburn, because after that the series became digital, apparently. Like, they didn't pick it up and for a second one, and it ended up going as an online series. I don't know if she's written more than one as far as like online, but this one was really well written and entertaining, and I wanted to read it. It's the shrink's not a vampire. She basically ends up becoming the shrink to a vampire, and they of course, you know, fall in love and blah blah blah, and stuff happens. Of course, it's entertaining. I highly liked it. And then we're going a little. Vampires are for all ages nowadays. They even have a couple of like little vampire cartoons for little kids. There's like a like Vampire Ballerina something or other. I forget. I just seen it in passing because I don't have children or anything. And it's literally, it's for like toddlers. I thought, you know, for like 4-year-olds and stuff. I thought that was great. I'm just like, yes, anyone can enjoy vampires. Anyway, but these I thought were cute little kids books too, which is My Sister the Vampire, which basically they're twins, but one of them is a vampire and one of them's not, and they were separated. These are super cute little books. I like them. And then of course there is Vampirates, because what is cooler than vampires? Pirates. Yes, to my Pastafarian brothers out there. But yes, so again, and these are Tales of the Sea. They're great. I highly recommend them too. I thought they were quite funny. So that is my vampire obsession, and I was kind of gonna go into something else. I thought about if you guys would like, each week when I go to the library, I'll show you my fun picks of books for that week, and if there's anything interesting about them, if I like them, I'll tell you guys. So in my next video, I'll give you my picks from the library's new list, okay? So anyway, I hope you guys had fun. I know I did, and I hope to see you here next time, guys. Bye.